Restore democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy?
So yeah, there's no way that we couldn't talk about that one. Elon Musk and his son, Little X, in the White House, and this kid is clearly trolling Trump, and it's so hilarious to sit back and watch this. I have saw so many different takes from a lot of creators that I really, admire and respect their opinion, and I've heard so many good takes on this one, but there is one aspect of it I would like to talk about from a different angle, and we're going to do that. But before we keep rolling, we have to watch this kid tell Trump to shush his mouth. This is hilarious. Take a look.
From one year to the next are the same, and they're.
I got to be honest, every day we wake up to depressing news, and it's been depressing ever since the election. Got even more depressing on January 20th. Each day we just wake up to this information overload, and there's so much bad shit to try to sort through that I got to be honest with you, I really did enjoy that comic relief. I really enjoyed at least getting to have a laugh at Donald Trump's expense as this kid is just sitting there trolling him while Elon is clearly demonstrating that he's the one in charge. And I've saw so many good takes on this. And, obviously kids repeat what they hear other people say. Obviously, if a kid hears its dad talking about someone behind their back, it's going to repeat. That's why you're kind of careful as to what you say around your kids, because you don't want the kid to repeat it. If you've got an opinion about someone in the family, you don't necessarily tell it to your 5-year-old, because that 5-year-old could very easily blurt it out at the dinner table. And so, that's something we always have to keep in mind, is that whatever we say in front of our kids, they're going to repeat it. But there was another angle of thought that I had as I watched this. I thought about all the Trump voters who lined up to vote for this guy again, to line up to vote for this guy for the third time. And they really think that this guy has the answer to all their problems. And he's the strong man. He's the strong man who's going to come back in, and on day one, in just 24 hours, he's going to magically solve every problem they ever had. He's their guy. He's their strong man. He has all the answers. And then they watch him get reelected with the help of Elon Musk. And notice, that's not J.D. Vance standing beside him. That's not the vice president. That is an unelected official that's now sitting there telling everyone how everything is going to be. And his kid is trolling the strong man. So what I would say to MAGA is, you voted for this guy thinking he was the strong man and he had all the answers and he was going to solve all your problems. And he's being shushed by a kid. And he's sitting there eating it. He's sitting there taking it. Donald Trump, the guy who, look how many times he has snapped back at reporters. How many times have we saw him? That's a nasty question. Don't you ever speak to me that way. I'm the president of the United States. But when Elon kid says it, he just sits there and he rolls his eyes and he rolls his shoulders. And I guarantee you there was ketchup on the wall somewhere when he got off camera. And I can't believe, honestly, that he didn't was that live? Because if it wasn't, I can't believe that he didn't just at that point stop the whole show and say, get this kid out of here. We got to do a redo on this. Can we have a take 2 with this kid not here telling me to shut up? It's like, and it's just so bizarre to me, because I think back to my childhood and I think back to my grandfather, who was born in 1916. He was about 5'7", weighed about 140 pounds soaking wet, but he was a mean little dude, and he was a great grandpa, but he was not a grandpa to mess with either. And I promise you that if I'd have went to Sunday dinner and we're sitting there and my dad's talking, and I lean into my grandpa and say, "I want you to shush your mouth," my grandpa would have mopped the floor with my dad. My grandpa would have came up out of that seat and backhanded my dad out of his chair and been like, "Why are you letting your son talk to me that way?" I'm not approving of that. I'm not saying that's how you should handle things, but that would have not happened in our world when we were growing up. And yet MAGA sits there and they watch this. And it's at this point in the game, you're still hanging with this dude. You're still there. He's being shushed by a kid, and you're hanging in there. And it's got to the point now where I think back on the old fight with Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali, the Thrill of Manila, one of the greatest. It's my favorite fight of all time. I have watched that fight so many times. I know which punch is coming next. I know what the announcer is going to say. I love that fight. And at the end of the 14th round, Joe Frazier is sitting there. His eyes are swell shut. His lips pouring the blood. His nose is pouring the blood. He's spitting up blood internally. He's spitting into his bucket. It's a complete mess. Ali threw everything at him but the kitchen sink in rounds 13 and 14. And it's hard to watch. It's brutal. Joe, as he's trying to find, he's walking sideways, can't find the corner he's supposed to go to. That's how bad he's beat up. And he sits down on the chair, and he still wants to go one more round. He still wants to, like, let me have it. Just let me have one more shot at this. Meanwhile, Muhammad Ali's over here going, I just threw everything at him but the kitchen sink. I don't think I got another round left in me. And Angelo Dundee's telling Ali, just be quiet, because I do believe Joe's about to tap here. Just hold on. I believe Joe's trainer's going to stop it. So as I'm watching MAGA today, I feel like they're Joe Frazier. It's like they're, and that's an insult to Joe Frazier, but I'm sorry about that. But I'm just saying they're like Joe Frazier in the sense that they've clearly been had. They've clearly been played. They've clearly been beaten. There's no shot of redemption here. There's no way you're ever going to come back from this. And Eddie Futch, Joe Frazier's trainer, leans in as Joe say, let me just keep doing this. And Eddie Futch leans in and he says, listen, no one is ever going to forget what you did here tonight. You just participated in the greatest fight of all time. No one ever took it to Muhammad Ali the way that you have. And no one's ever going to forget this performance. And that's what I would like to say to MAGA. No one is ever going to forget what you did here, okay? No one is ever going to forget your dedication to this dude. But it's time to just realize that the game is over. The fight is over. You got your ass handed to you. You got played. I can sit here and continue to roll the clips till we're all, blue in the face. Ain't going to matter. At this point, there's no clip I can show you. There's nothing left. Although I know there's more coming down the pike. That's what's so messed up about this. But at this point in the game, if you're still hanging on to Trump and you're still thinking you're going to get cheaper eggs and you're still thinking the economy's going to boom and you're still thinking everything's going to be hunky-dory, and yet here we are with RFK being confirmed, Tulsi Gabbard being confirmed, Pete Hegseth being confirmed. We are a laughing stock. Russia is celebrating all of this. We're an absolute laughing stock. Elon is sitting there trolling Trump in the Oval Office. His kids telling him to hush. Just give up. Just throw in the towel, Joe. No one's ever going to forget your dedication. No one's ever going to forget what you did. But it's time to call it a day. It's time to just quit. The problem is now we're in a position where we can't, because everybody got so caught up in the reality show, so caught up in, it's on the libs, that they ended up being owned by Elon Musk. And if anybody can't see through this, I said this in a previous video, but how many times did we have to hear them sit and tell us, Joe Biden ain't really in charge? He's not, Obama's pulling the strings. And then you sit there and you watch Elon and his kid next to Trump, and you're going to say that I'm I'm some sort of conspiracy theorist now because I'm like, hey, it looks to me like that guy's in charge. No one else could say that to Trump and get by with it. Think about that. No reporter. See how it works. For any reporter out there that wants to go to the next speech where that Elon's not there, which will be interesting to see if we have any of those. But if Trump flies solo, I would say to any reporter, just tell him that he's not the president. He needs to go away, and tell him to shush. And see how far it gets you. The fact that he sat there and ate it after you all thought he was the strong man. Again, I needed the laugh. I did, because it's a sad world that we live in. And so, yeah, I had to laugh at their expense. And it's one of those laughs that you don't even, you feel bad for having, because it's so damn sad. But I do appreciate y'all so much for sticking with me here on the channel. We're continuing to grow every day, and I really appreciate it. I'm out here visiting California and trying to keep up with the news. And there's, like I said, we're in an information overload. But I saw that kid, and I said, we've got to talk about that. Well, there's no way I could let that one slide. But yeah, here we are. It's Trump 2.0, or I guess this is Elon Musk, and we'll see where it goes from here. But I hope everyone has a great day.